One of those fighters is Islam Makhachev, and we all know how you feel about him. You know, he's the most exciting fighter that's ever lived to you, DC, and everything that he does is just so exhilarating. I mean, you feel like it's almost like you drink an energy drink every time he steps into the octagon. It changes your whole mood. You run into the octagon as fast as you ran out of the octagon after the Kevin Holland fight when you didn't know who to interview. And so Islam Makhachev, right, was looking for an opponent. Here, man. My bad, he's looking for an opponent. No RDA. And Dan Hooker, who just fought on the 25th of September, steps up and takes this fight. I mean, he has to feel like this is an opportunity to regain what he lost after getting knocked out to Michael Chandler. So for you, getting to see the most interesting, exciting, exhilarating fighter that you've ever gotten to see since Khabib Nurmagomedov, how do you think this shakes out? And what do you think about Hooker stepping up and taking it?
Why are you doing that? Like I said, why are you doing that?
What?
I never said he was the most exhilarating, exciting fighter of all time. How many superlatives can you put on top of who Islam is to try to play me, dog? Like, no, you went deep in the dictionary.
DC,
you done gave him 10 different ones. That's crazy.
DC, do you remember? So crazy. No, remember that show you said that Islam Makhachev was more exciting to watch than Anderson Silva ever was? Remember you said that?
I never said that.
You said
I never said that.
You didn't say that?
Hell no, that is, bro, you got some real crazy history going in your head right now.
I don't know, man. I thought you said that.
Hey, dog, you're out of control. And also, hey, look like the Wi-Fi just kicked in on the Contender Series because my stuff came in clear all of a sudden. I can see you, dog. At first, I couldn't even see the letters on the bottom of the screen. Now I can see what's happening in terms of the show. But as we get to Hooker and Islam, I saw Dan Hooker on Saturday at the fight because one of their friends fought. And I went up to him after I interviewed somebody and I said, hey, man, you're the man. Gave him 5, gave him daps for taking the fight against Islam because a lot of people talk and they get mad about how we build Islam Makhachev.
Right.
Dan Hooker's willing to step up and challenge that, which is crazy because most people ain't willing to do that. Now, for Dan Hooker, he finds himself in a situation where this may be a #1 contenders fight, right? Because people are ready to call Islam the man, ready to give him a title shot. People are ready to put him in the fight, fighting for the belt. Hey, Dustin Poirier the other day publicly stated Islam may be the toughest fight in the division for him. So he's getting crowned. He's as uncrowned as they come. Dan Hooker goes, wait a minute, let me get the shine. If you guys all feel so strongly about this cat, what if I beat him? Why can't Dan Hooker be looked like in that same regard? Now, that's one of the things, right? Ain't nothing worth having, no reward, if you ain't willing to risk something. And Dan Hooker is willing to take the risk. Now, is it a great matchup for him stylistically? Seems very difficult. But he's a man, he's a fighter, and he's going to go out there and try to beat Islam. It's going to be tough, but dude's doing it.
Yeah, to me, and obviously there's no win-win situations, right? Either you get your hand raised after the fight or you don't. But if you're a guy like Dan Hooker who stood across from Michael Chandler with an opportunity to be the #1 contender or at least get a shot at the belt fighting against Charles Oliveira and you lose, and now you have an impressive showing and you get an opportunity against a guy like Islam who you are hearing all of these things about. I think he'll come into this fight as an underdog. This is a situation where he could show on short notice in the fight that he wasn't scheduled to take after just finishing a fight, that he could show, you know what, I'm a different dude, not just as a fighter, but as a person, as a man that stepped up and probably taken a fight that many top 5 guys that have been dodging for the last couple of years when Islam Makhachev was calling out person after person, fighter after fighter, and it seemed like no one wanted to step up and take this fight. But is this the toughest matchup for both of these dudes so far? Or do you think Dan has fought better competition, or has Islam Makhachev had a better matchup than Dan Hooker?
I think it is the toughest fight for both guys. And if Islam can't get this fight to the ground, it becomes very difficult for him to just stand with Dan Hooker. There's only one guy that's beaten Islam Makhachev, and that was Adriano Martins. Way back in the day, he kicked him in the head with a head kick. It was in Houston. Islam and I think, might have fought on the same card. It does not happen to Islam.
Right.
Martins did it when he was able to stay standing. He wasn't able to take him down as effectively as he needed to. With Dan Hooker, Hooker presents a lot of problems for anyone when you're forced to just stand with him.
Right.
But if Makhachev can get the fight to the ground, I'm telling you, man, and I've said this before, the grappling, the power, his ability to go find submissions and really just wear you down is second to none. But when you ask me a question of whether or not he's the toughest guy that he's ever stood across from in regards to name recognition, skill, absolutely. Because he's not as one-dimensional as some of the other guys that Islam has been in there with. He's had the strikers. The last guy was just a grappler.
Right.
And we saw the fight against Hakparas that Hooker has the ability to do it all. We saw him mixing takedowns. We saw him defend takedowns. We saw him strike. We saw him do everything. So, yes, absolutely toughest fight Islam's had, toughest fight that Dan Hooker's ever had.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.